let's go over some common mistakes and errors that appear on CDs. Now, no matter how well the numbers are presented at the beginning of the loan, there's always going to be changes on the closing disclosure throughout the entire process of the loan. For this reason, it's important to learn to detect things on the closing disclosure that could be incorrect or that don't match. Some of the most common mistakes are the cash to close is higher than it should be. So you need to go over all the closing costs and see if any closing costs are either duplicate or if anything that's there that shouldn't be there needs to be removed. Or if there's something that can be removed, you can ask the borrower if they want to remove it or not. The interest rate is wrong or about to expire. This can happen when the document hasn't been updated, so the CD hasn't been updated, so the interest rate might reflect incorrectly. Sometimes there was a miscommunication between the loan originator and the borrower. Also, some title company fees might be missing or irrelevant fees are included. So you need to contact the title company if there's fees that still appear there where they said that they were going to remove them, or there might be fees that went up that need to be reviewed with the title company as well. There's also prepaid interest that could be wrong or incorrect depending on the closing date. Sometimes the closing date is incorrect, so you need to let the lender know and the title company know that the closing date has changed so that the prepaid interest may reflect correctly as well. Other times, the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance that are being escrowed might not need to be escrowed if the borrower chose to waive escrows. So that's something very important that you need to also take into account. Also, the borrower might be paying for transfer taxes twice. You need to look out for that. Make sure that they're not paying for taxes twice. If the survey fee is missing and this is a purchase, then that needs to be obtained and provided. The realtor transaction fee is missing or incorrect. So you need to double check on the contract and see if there's a transaction fee there. And if it is or isn't, you need to double check with the realtor, with the buyer's realtor or the seller's realtor, depending on if either of them has a transaction fee. So you need to double check so that it is reflected on the closing disclosure. Lender credits are missing. If the borrower had a higher interest rate and they had lender credits, you want to make sure that that reflects on the closing disclosure so that the borrower doesn't pay more closing costs or come out of pocket more than they should. So you need to double check for that as well. Also, very important, you need to make sure that the loan amount is correct. Sometimes changes in circumstances are made throughout the entire loan process. And when the final closing disclosure comes around, you want to make sure that that final closing disclosure reflects the correct loan amount so that you don't have any inconveniences with the borrower when the time of closing comes around. Also, you want to make sure that the borrower's name is accurate and the property address is accurate. So you want to make sure that the zip code is right, the city is right, and any abbreviations or any apartment numbers are included there as well before the borrower sees it so that you make the corrections, not the borrower.